a lot of the conversation out there is that in next year, 2021, there'll be a recession, and that may or may not happen. I'm Brad Levitt, president of AFT Construction, and we are out here at one of our custom projects that will be starting soon. And if you're an architect, designer, builder, or interested in those fields, this is definitely the channel for you. So make sure and hit that subscribe button you see here, and like and comment as well below. So one thing that we're dealing with as many contractors right now, it's extremely busy, and that's the pulse throughout the country. In most markets, I would say most, not all, but most markets are extremely busy. They're lacking on labor, on production, materials. A lot of that's been affected by COVID. You do have people living in the big cities, moving to the suburbs. So in some markets, such as ours in Arizona, it's really created a huge demand for building. Low interest rates, and as I said, people moving in from California, Chicago, and other parts of the country. So what we're dealing with right now is how do we balance the workloads? How do we balance flow? How do we balance the labor? How do we balance cost? Well, that's great. I mean, that has a challenge in itself, and that's something that we deal with on day to day. But the purpose of this video is preparation. So living in Phoenix, I started working when I graduated from construction management in 2005, then moved to Phoenix. This was the construction boom. We all know this too well. It was the construction boom in the early 2000s in 4, 5, and 6. And then we had the recession due to the housing bubble market. Everything from Wall Street that affected us, with all the loans and defaults and foreclosures and everything that really impacted our industry, especially Arizona. Those warm climates, Florida, Arizona, Vegas, California, where you have a lot of investors that infiltrate those markets and a lot of money that's put out there, and it really creates this bubble. And so right now we're seeing land values really high, we're seeing construction costs really high, and there's a lot of reasons to that. But the whole purpose is, what are you doing as a company to prepare? I look at this, had we have known that the recession was coming in 2008, the firm I worked for, there could have been some safeguards in place, some preparation for that downfall, and what are we doing as a company? And one of the things that we quit doing was we were super busy, and we didn't spend a lot of time in business development, right? Because we knew that the jobs would come, you could pick up the phone and find any job as you needed it. So we didn't really have a division of the company that was pursuing marketing and business development, which is super key. So that's number one. Number two is there was not a lot of foresight as far as planning. We leased our office, there was no brick and mortar behind our company. We didn't have any assets behind us besides just the fee revenue. And then number three was we weren't really saving, we didn't have a nest egg there. We didn't have any preparation. We didn't have dollars saved up to prepare our company for that slow turn. And that's really important because many of us understand that when you have good employees, good partners, good subcontractors, trade partners, suppliers, it's really important not to lose them. And if you can prepare to carry them, yeah, maybe it costs your company. There's an investment there in your team and staff and the families involved. But, you can be there as a company and come out of those recessions even stronger because you have a brand if you're prepared for it. So something that we're doing now is, of course, marketing. You think, a lot of the conversation out there is that in next year, 2021, there'll be a recession, and that may or may not happen. It could be 2022 or 2023. It could be 8 years from now. At some point, we're going to see a dip, and it's just reality. It has to come, and construction has been that cycle for 50 years in our country. So it's really important for us as a company is to understand what our wheelhouse is, and we're marketing for that, right? We're very targeted. Even though we're as busy as can be, we have not stopped on business development. We continue to seek projects through 2021, through 2022, through 2023. And these projects are out there. It is feasible, even in the residential side. We do both commercial and residential, but even in the residential side, it's easy to meet with clients that aren't ready to build today, but they will be in 2 years. And we also have clients that may say, hey, Brad, I'm not ready now because of business or other things. They could be involved in other ventures, and they have the attitude that in 2 years we're going to be ready. And those are the perfect clients because we're trying to stage, our future as a company and pull that through. And so we're continually counseling our clients, depending if they're remodeling or new building, and new construction, and what's best for them and their family and situation and pricing module at the time. So that's really important. The second thing that we're doing is you start thinking about, okay, the money that we're making as a company, what are we doing to build value for our customer? So you think, for me, I have 6 kids, I'm pretty young, we have a young company. It's really important that we're here for a long term. We have many years in front of us. And so you think in the brick and mortar, do you own your building? Do you own other property that you can rent out? Do you have tenants? How are you working that personal financial side? And the whole purpose of that is to diversify, right? We talk about the importance of specialization in your field, and it's very important to understand what makes you successful as a company, but you also need to have some versatility, some diversification where you have some other streams of revenue, whether that's other markets, not even related to construction. I know a lot of construction companies that invest in hospitality, they invest in retail, they invest in restaurants, which some of those aren't going great right now, as we know. But the point is they're diversified, right? Because at some point those markets will come back. And so the ebbs and flow, the more you can be in, the more that you can protect yourself, that there's a sudden change in your market. So think about owning your building, because there are some tax advantages with depreciation. And of course, I'm not a CPA, but talk to your CPA. They can counsel you through, those investments and owning your building. And if you have tenants, and something we've done is we have our own building, we have tenants, and that alleviates our overhead, our rent, our exposure, and then also gives our customers some guarantee that we're here for long term, that by hiring us, if they have a warranty request in 5 years, we're still going to be here and we're going to be around. That's really important to us. And then number 3 is preparing for the future. So one thing that's really important, as you become more financially stable, more financially strong, that gives you some opportunities with banks to start building relationships with the banking side of things, and even though in our realm, I'm not doing any spec homes right now, everything's build to suit with clients. So we're on 30-day payment cycles with our clients and everything's build to suit. Well, that allows us now to really be creative with our lenders to show that we're financially strong, fiscal minded, and that allows us to have strong lines of credit, which can prepare us for the future. And these are relationships that are really good to make when the economy's good, because when the economy's bad, banks are gonna work with those that have been good partners of theirs and taking care of them, that are trusted entities. So understand the value of getting with your CPA, your financial consultants, understanding the banking side of things, setting yourself up for success. That way you have a nest egg and you have funds available. There's a company that I met with in California that in the recession they had saved $2 million of revenue that they just had sitting in the bank account. They didn't have any owner draws. They didn't have any dividends or disbursements to the partners. Although everyone was paid, good for the work they did, they saved that. And when the recession came, they were prepared to bridge that gap and not lose their key people. And there's an investment. A lot of owners think, well, I've worked hard, I've created this net worth, and it's time to cash out. Well, the problem with that is you cash out, you don't have that nest egg there, for you or the company to get through any times that come ahead. So think about those. It's really important. Again, the marketing, business development never end. That's something that cannot rest, and so your company must always focus on that. That's super important. And understand how to budget, cost-effective job cost your projects. Understand how you're making money on each of these projects and how you can better prepare yourself, be a better builder for your client.